let's play this clip again, because Tulsi Gabbard, if you want to put the tweet back up one more time, G, made some news and appeared, I believe she went on Tucker, too, to follow this up. Biden's just a front man. Obama, April 21st, social media censors don't go far enough. And the timing of all of this is just, he's out there at Stanford all of a sudden speaking about social media companies and their, how important it is that there's either oversight or they have. Meanwhile, I mean, this guy's been at the. I'm still looking for someone to call for his presidential daily briefings in 15 and into 16 to see what he knew when he knew it. How much about as you had Joe Biden as vice president in there going after Flynn, telling him to use. I mean, all the stuff, everything.
Well, remember, too, he was also behind chasing down a Fox reporter, I forget his name, AP reporters, they were spying on them. He doesn't like the media, especially if they're going to write something he doesn't approve of.
But the idea that he's worried about social media, again, and we all know what happened in the 2020 election, Zuckerberg and his money, how it influenced. The movie's out now, obviously. So one more time, here's the full Obama clip, cut 5G from this Stanford speech he gave. Roll that.
I believe we have to address not just the supply of toxic information, but also the demand for it.
Oh, that's interesting.
On the supply side, tech platforms need to accept that they play a unique role in how we as a people and people around the world are consuming information, and that their decisions have an impact on every aspect of society.
I think we should chop the thing up. Break.
With that power comes accountability. And in democracies like ours, at least, the need for some democratic oversight.
Okay, well, first of all, we're a constitutional republic. We're not a democracy, thankfully. So that's number one. But number two, what's been the accountability for? I mean, I know people think Elon Musk already owns it. He doesn't. What's been the accountability for Twitter? What's been the accountability for the Hunter Biden laptop story? What's been the accountability for all the election nonsense?
Yeah.
For all the scientific nonsense?
Facebook.
How about all science beginnings and ends with Dr. Fauci?
Yeah.
I mean, this is just psychotic. So what we're saying here, the government needs to step in and take away some of your freedom to keep you free.
Here we go.
Yeah. And you know what's interesting, too? Right at the beginning, he said something that I didn't catch the first time, or it says he talked about the supply and the demand for it. So he wants the government to step in to be able to change your mind so you don't demand to hear something different than what they want to spoon feed you. That should be alarming in and of itself.
But what's amazing about these guys is you never can go back and see like the column that he wrote for the New York Times opinion piece or the Washington Post opinion piece or Page 6. I mean, you can never go back and look at what they wrote while all these things were happening because they don't ever say anything then. They don't write pieces when it's the New York Post getting suspended or when social media is closing accounts of conservatives or making sure what you can read or what you can't read or posting links to stories not saying, oh, this is dangerous. Are you sure you want to go here? He doesn't write a piece saying, hey, this is not right. There's got to be accountability. He doesn't ever do that. He does it now when everybody's on to the deal. Everything that we were told were lies has now come around as truth. Musk makes a move for Twitter, says it needs to be a free speech town hall like it really, which it hasn't been. And now he's out there concerned. But he's not concerned because the time to be concerned when all this is what happening, and he was silent like everybody else in his party because it was to their advantage. But now he's concerned. Now they're all concerned.
But this is all you need to know about the relentless, endless propaganda from essentially 5, maybe 6 corporations that control all the media that are owned and partnered up with the same banks, the same military industrial complexes, partnered up and in conjunction, in congruence with vertical structures across the board with pharma and all these mega energy companies. And they want to control every narrative and they want to trickle lies to you in a slow-cooked, never-ending infomercial from every channel, relentlessly lying to you endlessly so you believe all their BS, so you buy all their products that fit in their system, and then all the while they do the bidding for these massive, mega, gigantic, unholy, unregulated corporations, what do? They keep themselves elected. It's a beautiful little partnership. Unstoppable.
Yeah. And what's interesting, too, is that they're basically confirming now, the way they're freaking out over this Elon Musk Twitter deal, is that social media, I guess, can influence an election.
A little bit.
A little bit, right?
A little bit.
They're confirming everything that they used to call conspiracies. Oh,
Which
it's
is
just
great,
a conspiracy.
by the way.
Now they're freaking out because their platform is going to be taken away from them, and other people can say stuff, and they won't be able to shut it down.
But remember, it's all conspiracy theory, right, D?
Yeah.
Anytime someone says, oh, George Soros funded this DA, this sheriff, this group, that's all conspiracy theory, right? Because he's just a philanthropist, and he's very active. But if anybody says one thing against the legitimate science, as a legitimate expert fights it, that's now conspiracy theory. Now Musk is going to purvey conspiracy theory. And by the way, when did everything get linked to white supremacy? Anybody who is a conservative view is now a white supremacist.
2016.
Yes. They just keep on making that connection, and it's not going to stop.
I know.
I really hope to God that Trump doesn't go back on Twitter. I hope he stays away from it, because it's just another rallying cry for the goofballs to just lie and.
Oh, let's finish that clip, G.
For years, social media companies have resisted that kind of accountability. They're not unique in that regard. And every
Such an actor.
private corporation wants to do anything it wants. So the social media platforms call themselves neutral platforms with no editorial role in what their users saw. They insisted that the content people see on social media has no impact on their beliefs or behavior, even though their business models and their profits are based on telling advertisers the exact opposite. Now, the good news is that almost all the big tech platforms now acknowledge some responsibility for content on their platforms, and they're investing in large teams of people to monitor it. Given the sheer volume of content, this strategy can feel like a game of whack-a-mole. Still, in talking to people at these companies, I believe they are sincere in trying to limit content that engages in hate speech, encourages violence, or poses a threat to public safety.
This is such BS.
They genuinely are concerned about it. They want to do something about it.
This is just
But
this is so much
while
BS.
content moderation can limit the distribution of clearly dangerous content, it doesn't go far enough.
There it is.
That's mastery in terms of gaslighting. That is absolute mastery in giving just a little truth with a ton of lies smeared around it. He acts as if he's championing goodness when all he's looking for is control through his endgame. Now, he is a masterful pitchman. His pauses, his inflections, his acting, I can't stomach him. I know exactly what he is. He's a liar.
And also, let me remind you of one other thing we've played before here, but let me play it one more time.
What you know now, do you wish like you had a third term? And I used to say, you know what, if I could make an arrangement where I had a stand-in, a front man or front woman, and they had an earpiece in, and I was just in my basement in my sweats looking through the stuff, and then I could sort of deliver the lines, but somebody else was doing all the talking and ceremony. I'd be fine with that. What you know.
Fine with that.
He'd be fine with that.
He'd be fine with that.